Oh boy, it's come to this. Every year, when I do my 31 Days of Horror movie marathon review thing, I usually top it off, end it with a review of a Halloween film. This is my 8th year doing this, so eighth movie in the Halloween series, of course, is Halloween Resurrection. Easily the worst, in my opinion. I mean, I know a lot of people say really hate the Rob Zombie movies. Some people really hate the third film because it doesn't have Michael Myers in it. But this one, easily, for my money, it is the worst, absolute worst. Uh, does a disservice to the series, and the previous movie that this follows up on. Does a disservice to the iconic heroine played by Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode, and is just all around a poor slasher movie, all on its own accord. So it's a pitiful, pretty bad movie. What could I say? This one, I mean, like it's bad for quite a few reasons, but I mean, definitely it's a slap in the face for anyone who enjoyed Halloween H2O, which I liked. I thought it was a really good movie in my opinion. Uh, Kind of brought the series back and brought Jamie Lee back in an interesting kind of way, and it had a really good ending where finally at the end of it all. I mean, this boogeyman, this shape, this Michael Myers. What do they keep doing in these movies? They stab him, they shoot him, they turn their heads. Oh, he's gone. He's gonna come back and stuff like that. Finally, Laurie Strode, she's like, fuck it, and then chops his fucking head off, and boom, credits. It's great. I think it's a superb ending. This one ruins all that because they do a little kind of retcon thing where, oh, it turns out that the Michael Myers that we saw at the end of Halloween H2O wasn't really Michael Myers. He slipped out in events unseen, and he switched uh, his mask up and the clothing with a paramedic, crushed his larynx so he couldn't say anything. And during that whole event in the end of the movie, it's not really Michael Myers who Laurie decapitates, which is so cheap, which is so stupid. It's just such a silly trick that they play. I really hated that. And so, because of that, of course, Laurie is distraught and near catatonic. She's sent to, an asylum where she's just tortured for what would seem to be the remainder of her life. Where, guess what? Michael tracks her down, and he does indeed finally kill his sister, Laurie Strode. Very pitiful kind of end to a great character. So that all sucked, and this is all in like the first 15 minutes of the movie, which has nothing to do with the rest of the movie, which is setting up the stage for just failure all throughout. So this kind of a crappy thing to do, and of course they put Jamie Lee Curtis on all the posters and commercials and stuff. It made it seem like maybe she had a bigger part, where in reality she was just in it for the first segment of the film. Uh, Contractually obligated to appear, it would seem, but wanting to die to not have to do any more of these fucking movies, which she would end up thankfully returning to the series and kind of the retconned sequel to the first film, Halloween 2018. But yeah, I mean it's all kind of smoke and mirrors. So the true story that starts after the first 15 or so minutes of the movie is all about these kids in Haddonfield University or college or whatever it is, and they're completely unrelated to anything. They're just these random kids. The main one being a girl named Sarah, and her group of friends who decide to take part in this internet reality series where they explore the house of Michael Myers, and this is all uh, curated and directed and produced by this Dangertainment producer named Freddie Harris, played by Buster Rhymes, fan favorite character, Freddie Harris, who's, I don't know, like this bizarre Willy Wonka who always has like this stupid little speech about everything. Michael Myers is not a soundbite. He's the, you know, spooky creep in the night that pops up and gets you. Everything is entertainment and unreal and like whatever. Shut the fuck up. And he, loves karate and stuff like that. I don't know. It's a really stupid character. But I mean, the long and short of it is that the whole movie is about these characters, these stupid idiot teenagers, walking around Michael Myers' house with cameras on. Some stuff has been planted for scare's sake, and wouldn't you know it, Michael Myers does indeed show up, and the threat is real. And then, you have the obligatory scenes where people are watching the broadcast and like, oh wow, that was so real. That girl getting her head cut off. Wow, how'd they do that? Great special effects, man. And all that kind of stupid stuff. So it's a very, very stupid movie with characters you couldn't possibly give two shits about, and just a sad way to end the original continuity of what began in 1978 with the original Halloween film. So a sad, pitiful end, but that seems to be the case with kind of this era in horror movies where late 90s, early 2000s, if it wasn't a Scream knockoff, then it was, bring out an old franchise into the pastures and turning it around and blasting in the head and letting it die an undignified death. So that was a very dark period in horror. I think a lot of people would agree that this kind of era was, with of course with a few exceptions, was kind of an unimaginative, shallow kind of era in horror movies, especially with, I think, with the beloved franchises, until kind of the whole remake renaissance came about, which is a whole other story. But I guess if I can say some good about this movie, it is, I don't know, kind of this fascinating time capsule of this era. This is a 2002 film, so this is kind of in the prime heyday of, I don't know, like the internet age, right? Where everyone was like getting into this thing called the internet, going on Yahoo chat rooms and watching broadcasts on their computer just like they would on TV, right? Wow, crazy. And texting on their Nokia phones. And also this was a prime era for reality television, and of course we even get like little references and name drops, stuff like the Osbournes and Survivor and stuff like that. So it's this very specific kind of era that this has lived in, and it is this kind of freeze frame of 2002, which is kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting to see how it embraced it so much. Where some other horror movies, they might try to be like a little bit more timeless, not make too many you know references to the exact technology culture at the time, but this one kind of just goes right for it. And I don't know, it's kind of interesting. It does, in a weird way, bring nostalgia. And I guess with each passing year, or every couple of years, when I decide to muster up the bravery to watch it, it does kind of bring all these memories flooding of this time in our history, which it's wasn't a bad time. It was some fun times in this kind of uh, dawn of the internet, pre YouTube, pre Netflix kind of streaming, whatever internet age, where it looks very primitive by comparison, but that's kind of fun, I guess. Other than that, though, I mean, it is a very poor movie. Like these characters, who gives a shit about them? I mean, uh, maybe if they could have, I don't know, kept some kind of continuity. Like maybe if they kept, the Michelle Williams character in it at least, or Josh Hartnett. But I guess they could only afford to put like his headshot in a picture or something like that. I don't know if they give it some kind of continuity, but it's just so stupid how they have this whole opening scene with Laurie Strode and Michael Myers, and it's completely unrelated to the rest of the movie. And it's as if it feels like if Halloween H2O didn't have Laurie Strode in the movie, and it was just Josh Hartnett and Michelle Williams running around getting chased by Michael Myers with all their friends and stuff, it feels like something's missing. Something does indeed feel missing from this movie, but for everything that's missing, we get something that's feels like shoved in inappropriately, uh, like with the Buster Rhymes character, which just is why would they do that? I guess it works so well with LL Cool J. That was another kind of weird trend in the late '90s and early 2000s, where we got to get a rap star to appear in the movie. I don't know why, but let's do it. So that's what they do here. And they give him a pretty meaty role and have him fucking karate kicking Michael Myers. Trick or treat, motherfucker! Okay, great. Lovely. Very, very good. Um, so I don't know. But it's a poor movie, and I am old enough to remember a time where this was meant to be called Halloween Homecoming, which I think that's a better title, don't you? Like Halloween Resurrection. It's like Resurrection is such a uh, generic title, and really, there's no resurrection in the movie. At least some like Alien Resurrection. Yeah, they there's a resurrection of characters and stuff like that. Here it's Halloween Resurrection. Michael Myers wasn't resurrected or anything like that. He was still around. He just came back. So what the fuck? Um, and I am old enough to remember. If you remember this wonderful era where you'd hop on to what is it, LimeWire, and like download these VCDs where you could put like half a movie on a disc and half the other half on another disc, and torrent movies that would take maybe 2 or 3 days to download. Where I did actually find the work print of this when it was released, so at least it didn't get my money in theaters at the time, where there's some alternate footage and a different temp score and all that kind of stuff, and kind of a different ending as well, but still the same kind of principle where Michael's still around, blah blah blah, ain't that scary. Meanwhile, the franchise would not continue after this, so all for naught, I guess. I'd be curious to see if there are people who enjoy this movie, maybe like in a campy kind of way. Like, is that possible that it is one of these movies that's so bad it's good? Maybe? I don't know. It must have some fans out there, I'm sure. But, of all the Halloween movies, we had the original 8, the 2 remakes, the new 2018 film, which uh, we're going to be getting the Halloween Kills soon. They actually just recently released some footage of that. That looks pretty fun. We'll have to see how things go with the Age of 2020, which is very fun. See how that goes. See if it gets released next year at Halloween time. So, the series, it's been consistent. It's kept on going after all these years. But of everything Halloween related that's ever been released, this I think is the worst. This I can just kind of try to ignore. If I were doing a Halloween marathon, if I pressed for time, this one it's a very easy throwaway, a very easy movie to drop from the lineup. Uh, Halloween H2O is kind of the perfect ending to the original continuity. If you want to kind of see it as like a trilogy between Halloween 2, and Halloween H2O, really really good Laurie Strode trilogy, I guess. But this one, it's, what can I say? It's just a shitty movie. Quite bad indeed. But that's it. That's my review. Halloween Resurrection. We did it! 31 days of horror. Happy Halloween, everyone. Hope you enjoyed these horror movie reviews all throughout this month. It's been fun revisiting old favorites, making new favorites, and torturing myself with this film. But I guess next year we're gonna be revisiting the Rob Zombie version. So I'll see you again next year. Until then, stay tuned, stay scared, and until next time, I'll see you later.